So this is the basic painting worksheets demo for Computer 2 in Pixlr. First thing you need to do, go to your classroom and find the worksheets. These are basically the Matt Core worksheets that he goes over in the video, but you're going to be looking for the basic brush technique part 1 assignment, and then there's 2 worksheets. You need to download them. Now, Google has an issue sometimes with not having a download sheet, so you have to go up to the 3 dots, click on it, and then you'll get a download icon. Go ahead and download worksheet number 1, and you can title it whatever you want. Just save it to your desktop. And then if you're actually on the Chromebook, you would need to download it, and then it'll be in your downloads folder. Then download number 2. You need both of these. You're going to be doing some brush practicing. And this is a little bit different from the brush practices that we did before in Photoshop, but it's similar. Basically, again, you have to go make sure that you open this in another window and then download. Then we're going to open it in Pixlr. So go ahead and go to Pixlr E and then open an image, find your image, and then open it. And now you're going to be kind of replicating the shape. So the shape on the left-hand side needs to be replicated in the box on the right-hand side. So the first thing I would do is I would make sure that the background is locked in my layers palette. And so I would add a layer on top. So this is kind of temp layers again. So I would add layer 1 and then make sure that the background is locked. Okay? And you can toggle that on and off if you want. Next, start with one of the shapes, and you may have to kind of mess with this a little bit. We kind of, it depends on the brush. Some of these have different brushes. Remember, we deal with the hard round, the soft round, or the hard flat. Some of the more angular shapes you're probably going to have to do with a hard flat. There is also a square in here too. Sometimes they get kind of pixelated, but I'll show that as well. Brushes. To make your brush bigger or smaller, it's going to be the less than or greater than sign right above the space bar on the bottom row. Also remember to choose a color. It's going to be the control key and then control click to pick up the color that you want to paint with. So you'll see that you get kind of this pretty rainbow color to begin with. And then I'm just going to pick up the color and I'm going to start painting. And sometimes it's not the right brush, so you might have to do something or come up with a different size brush, a different kind of brush in order to get this exactly like the shape on the left. So it's going to be a series of sort of trial and error in here. Now I've greatly sped up some of the work that I did. It took me maybe about 10 minutes or so, but I'm going to speed this up to a shorter amount of time. So basically it's going to be a series of brushes, kind of making different kind of brushes, seeing if they work, changing the opacity at the top, and then sort of doing kind of a combination of colors over the top, and then kind of blending it out. That looks pretty good. Or, kind of just sort of coming back and going over the top of things. If you make a mistake, you can always just hit undo, which is what I'm doing in several of these spots. I would go ahead and try and get it as close as you possibly can. A lot of these are going to be bigger shapes, and then you're going to go back and you're going to use your eraser to do a little refining. So I'm just, kind of changing the opacity, changing the brush, changing the colors, and trying to get this really set up to be exactly like this other little shape. So I think my shape is looking pretty good. So now I'm going to go around and kind of refine the edge by using the eraser. And I'll probably go pretty small to do this due to the fact that I kind of want this to be pretty like close up to it. And remember, we're working on a temp layer, so it shouldn't be affecting your background at all. Please don't work on the original layer, otherwise if you went into kind of erasing, you'd be erasing the background, which is not a good idea. So what you would want to do is then you're going to go in here and you're going to try and replicate all the shapes in black and white. Get it the best that you can, and then we're going to save the image. So I think this shape looks pretty good. So now let's say I was done with my whole thing. I'm going to go ahead and go up to File and hit Save. You do want to save as a JPEG. What that's going to do though is it's going to flatten your layer, so make sure it's exactly the way that you want it before you save. Okay, and then title it something like Basic Worksheet, Painting, something along those lines so you can find it. Save it to your desktop if you're on a anything other than a Chromebook, or you can save it to your Downloads folder on your Chromebook, which goes directly to Drive. And then you should be saved. Once you have the black and white done, you're going to move on to the color one. And again, all you have to do is open it up. And this is what it looks like if you opened it in, say, a preview mode. And so now we're going to move on to color. So go ahead and save this one. You can get rid of it. And then you can open the color one, which is the second worksheet. And then you'll need to spend some time working on these colors. And this is going to be a little bit tougher because we've never done color before, but I think you can get a hang of it. And you can sample off of the actual shape, so that would be helpful.